What's up, everyone? What's up, everyone? Good to connect with y'all. It's obviously kind of late tonight, but I've been watching this interview for a while. It was when Larry Elder went on to the Breakfast Club and straight obliterated Charlemagne the God um, on their own show. So if you don't know who Larry Elder is a conservative Republican. He has a lot of knowledge, a lot of facts, and he was mentored by Thomas Sowell. So Thomas Sowell is very well known in the libertarian community as well as the conservative community, because Thomas Sowell, very well known professor, studied under Milton Friedman, and he came with the facts. And so, like Larry Elder was, I mean, he was trained by one of the best, right? So, and he went on to the Breakfast Club show, which does have a more left leaning, um, they have more left leaning topics and such that they talk about. They talk a lot about systemic racism and many other things. And so Larry Elder definitely debated them pretty well on a lot of those topics and shut them down. I mean, he obliterated them. And so we're just going to go to one part of this interview because I think that this part of the interview is what really got me. And so we're just going to react. I'm just going to, watch it again because I wanted to see it again. And so that's what we're going to watch right now. All right, let's go ahead and pull it up. Boom. All right, here we go. They're probably going to copyright me or something, but it's all good.
They tried, but they failed to change a single vote tally. 66% of Democrats believe the Russians changed vote tallies to get Donald Trump elected, even though Jay Johnson testified under oath, not a single one was changed. That's the damage that people like Hillary and former President Jimmy Carter and Stacey Abrams and
so here he's talking about the hypocrisy of when Donald Trump said that the election was, I think, rigged or something like that, and he's saying like how the Democrats do the same thing whenever Republicans win. So he's talking about the hypocrisy there.
Hakeem Jeffries and others have said for years, referring to Donald Trump as illegitimate. A greater percentage of Democrats believe 2016 was stolen than we feel that way about 2020, but yet nobody calls them election deniers and nobody accuses them of undermining our republic. And they're not undermining our republic. They're complaining about an election. You have a right to do so.
I know you probably got to go. Have you ever?
So this is where Charlemagne, he's pretty well known. Some of you may know him from when he interviewed Joe Biden ahead of the 2020 election, and Joe Biden had his famous quote, "If you don't vote for me, you're not black." And so I don't know if y'all recall that, but that Charlemagne, the one who was bald, he's the one that interviewed Joe Biden on that. And so, he asked Larry this question, and Larry calls him out about it. So let's get into it.
Ever heard of the term "nigga wake up call"?
No.
It is an incident where a person of color forgets that they are of color and are reminded rather brutally by an unexpected act of racism. Have you ever had any of those?
Brother.
I'm just asking. You think you've ever?
Well,
had
I'm acutely aware, Charlemagne, that I'm a black person, just as you are a black person. And when Joe Biden insulted you by saying, you ain't really black, we don't know whether or not you want to vote for me or vote for Donald Trump, it seems to me that should have been a wake-up call on your part. How dare this guy come in here and insult you, a black man, and tell you got to think a certain kind of way? I'm a
Hey, so Larry Elder, he's like he's just like a vet, and he's given like some real elder, like his last name's Elder, but he's giving like some elderly advice and criticism, and he's like you shouldn't have let that happen. You had the opportunity to really address the future president. At the time he was a candidate, but you had an opportunity to address this behavior, and you didn't. And so that's what Larry Elder's talking about.
Amazed that you weren't mad about that.
I'm not gonna say it upset me, just like I'm not letting you upset me. You know what I mean? I don't tend to get upset over things like that. But what I did say,
well, you just not talk about a nigger wake up call, and it seemed to me that should have been a wake up call on your part to have a white guy come in here who also said, by the way, about Mitt Romney, because he didn't want to put more regulations on Wall Street, going to put y'all back in chains. And Joe Biden has lied for decades about his civil rights record, claiming that he
So Larry Elder's just going in. I just keep pausing it because I know they're going to try to flag me for some copyright stuff, but I want to see if this can stay monetized. But so pretty much he's saying, like, you know, you let a white guy come in and say that, you know, to tell you how to think, tell you how to vote. And that's one of the hypocrisies with the left, is that, you know, they will claim that this is racism or that is racism, but then they would do a lot of racist things, such as telling you how to vote, telling you how to think. Pretty much, I mean, they will shut you down, you know, if you don't agree with their side of thinking, you know. And so, like, we saw that recently with Ice Cube and many other people, you know, that it's like, okay, well, you want to champion this issue of racism, but then when I want to think differently, or when I want to have a diversity of opinion, or when I'm entertaining a different thoughts, or I'm curious, you want to shut me down, which that within itself is disrespectful and racist. And so Larry Elder's addressing that.
segregated movie theaters and restaurants in Wilmington, Delaware, when he didn't do any of that. He lied and said that he tried to visit Nelson Mandela during apartheid South Africa. He did not. And he came in here and told you aren't even black and let you think a certain kind of way. It seems to me that should have been a nigga wake-up call for you, but it wasn't, apparently.
Yeah, I mean, no, for the record, I'm not a Democrat or Republican.
I didn't say you were.
Yeah, I think both.
I don't know what you are. I never even asked you about your party affiliation.
Yeah,
that has nothing to do with what Larry Elder is saying. He's not saying, like, whether you're a Democrat or Republican. He's saying, like, this dude came in and insulted you and your people in front of you on a national platform. You have over 1 million subscribers on this platform. It was aired, you know, vast, you know, majority everywhere, you know, and you let this dude disrespect you by saying that you need to think a certain way, you need to vote a certain way, or else you are not black. And it's like, okay, who gives you the credibility? Who gives you the power to say that someone isn't a particular race because they don't do what you say? You know what I'm saying? And so, like, that's the ludicrous in what was said. And so Larry Elder's just getting on Charlemagne's head about that.
I'm just saying, but you are black. And to have a white guy come in here and tell you have to say think a certain kind of way, otherwise you, quote, ain't black. Wow.
How should I have replied to him, you think?
What I just now said. How dare you insult me and tell me I think as a human being, let alone as a black person? I don't tell you how to think, Joe Biden. How dare you come in here and tell me how I should think? I'm going to vote for Donald Trump if I want to vote for Donald Trump. And if I want to vote for Donald Trump, it does not make me not black. 20% of black people, black men, as I said, voted for Donald Trump in 2020. Are they not black now? So only 80% of black men walking around are really black. 20% are not because they voted for Donald Trump. How?
He's going in because, like, this has been a consistent argument within, even, you know, when I say our community, I mean the black community, because, like, many of them vote Democrat, you know, now, you know, before it was Republican, you know, I mean, Frederick Douglass and Booker T. Washington, like, they were heavy Republicans. But now it's like mostly Democrat. And so, like, whenever you vote for someone, whoever's the racist candidate or whatever, like, you know, they'll try to criticize you and as if you're not black. But it's like, who gives you the authority to determine who's black and who's not? Like, you don't even have that type of power. You cannot speak for a whole race of people, of, you know, millions of people within the country. So, like, who gives you that authority and that power to determine who's what? Your opinion is garbage, and it doesn't affect me the way that you want it to. You know what I'm saying? Like, you're mad because I'm a free thinker, you know. And so he's going in on that. You know, this is a real issue.
How insulting is that? How condescending is that?
I mean, you're probably right, but I didn't take it in that way.
Well, I did.
As I said to him in that moment, you know, it's just about me wanting something for my people, and I want to know, what is he going to do for my people, and not only for my people now, how are you going to atone for the things you've done to my people?
Right.
That's it.
Right. And this is a guy, Joe Biden, who, when he first got into the Senate, hung out with segregationists, talked about how well he got along with them, talked about how he didn't want integration because of a jungle. This guy has made all sorts of insulting things to black people, and his policies right now are hurting black people. Inflation hurts the people at the bottom more than anything else. Letting a bunch of illegal aliens into the border are hurting black people more than anybody else, as I said earlier. He opposes school choice when he has his own kids in private school. And we lost a year, almost 2 years of in-school education in California because of COVID that he supported. I mean, this guy has done monstrous things to black people. And then for him to come in here and tell you how you ought to think as a black person, it blew my mind.
As a person objectively who doesn't care about either party, when I just take a step back and I just look at what everything that's happening, I see one party that seems still committed to democracy somewhat, and one party who's headed fast towards fascism. That's just my.
Yeah, so I mean that was a terrible comeback for Charlemagne there. Terrible comeback. Larry Elder cooked him. You know, and rightfully so. I mean that public scrutiny needed to happen. I would say that needed to happen because he did allow Joe Biden to come in and disrespect a whole race of people by doing that. So, what are y'all thoughts? I mean, this was a trending topic. A lot of people reacted to it. I was going to react to it last week, but I decided not to. And then now, just like, okay, well, why not? I mean, I wanted to see that part again, so I just wanted to include y'all in that. So, you all leave in the comment section below, like what you think about this whole situation, and hope that you all enjoyed it. Those are my thoughts about it, you know, so I wanted to give you all my thoughts and how I think about it, because I think that, you know, everybody, you know, especially if you're in this nation and we have constitutional rights to be free, you know, in our speech, in our religious beliefs, all these things, like, you know, and the Voters Act was passed so that we could vote for whoever the heck we want to vote for. You know, so like no one should be criticizing anyone for who they vote for. People should be free to do so. And so that's my criticism of Biden in that situation. And yeah, so that's my thoughts on it. What are your thoughts? Leave them in the comment section below. And you all have a blessed night. All right.